So in this video, I want to share with you an appointment setting training that I use inside my business. These are some of the things that I learned after working with 25 plus coaches, consultants, and agency owners, and some of the things that I learned as well as an appointment setter. If you are new to this channel, my name is Jay Martinez, and basically with my business, we were able to go from $0 to $10.5 thousand in 35 days, just with one appointment setter, basically just from cold outreach. So today I want to share with you exactly what we do. This is one of the strategies, but at the same time, I want to share everything. So this is gonna be barely filtered. I am going to barely cut some things out. This is gonna be exposing some of the things that we do on a daily basis when it comes to especially prospecting and appointment setting, of course. And if you're ready to watch this is gonna be a 1-hour training. This is gonna be jam-packed of value and information. But at the same time, of course, if you still have more questions or if you want more help, make sure to send me a message on Instagram at jmartinez.x. But without further ado, let's get into this. The keys to booking more appointments. The first one is going to be sending enough volume. Alex Hormozi says this all the time. Volume negates luck. So almost always, even if you don't have the perfect messages, the perfect script, if you send more volume, you will always win. And in a minute, I will explain what kind of KPIs you have to hit. But the most important part here is sending enough messages. The second part is having the right messaging structure. So this means a proven step-by-step framework to turn cold prospects into a booked appointment and then a client. And here, another part is creating content. This is the perfect scenario because with the right content, people will come to you and they will say, hey, can I book a call? Or I really like your video. Can we talk? And that's like the best kind of like situation to be in. And the last part is, in my opinion, the only way to become really good, to get regular feedback. Because if you don't get this feedback, because this is like a social skill, you're gonna have conversations. There is not really like a perfect training that will give you enough information so that you can become a good appointment setter. So instead, you need to get feedback from someone else, especially someone else that has been doing this appointment setting for some time. Because without this feedback, you are kind of like trying things on your own, and you're kind of like, you are not really sure about it. It will be really hard to find the best solutions when someone else can tell you, okay, so this is the thing that you have to change. And then you improve, and then again, they will tell you another time, okay, so this is what you have to improve. So getting this regular feedback is really important. And that's why always you have to ask us more questions about the conversations that you're having. You have to join the group coaching calls because this is the best way to improve. Just to give you an idea, when I started working for this company, I didn't have experience as an appointment setter, but because I was sending more messages than other appointment setters, I was asking more questions, and I was getting more feedback, I was able to surpass a lot of appointment setters, even though they paid like $5,000 for a coaching program to learn how to do appointment setting. Even though they took like 100 hours of trainings about appointment setting, still I was able to get better results than a lot of them. And in fact, some people were getting even better results than me because they were taking even more action. They were asking even more questions. The key here is just to ask more questions and getting more feedback. So yeah, just like to recap, we need to send more messages. We need to find more prospects, and we need to contact them every day consistently. And for the most part, most people believe that the limits on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn are really small. But actually, in a minute, I will ask you guys how many messages you're sending, but the limits are really high. For example, I was sending 200 messages. I was having 200 conversations per day. Yeah, if you have these kind of numbers, if you hit these numbers, you are not gonna really have an issue. And the worst thing that can happen is that you can get restricted, but then after 2 days, you can go back to the same messages, and you can continue sending 200 messages again. So that's not really a problem. And in a minute, I will show you the KPIs. And again, the second part, just to make an emphasis on this, the messaging structure. I will show you in a minute as well the messaging structure that you have to follow, content, but also because in some cases I saw that you are using your own profiles, you can post, you can repost the content, but at the same time, even posting, you can even post your own content. If you feel comfortable with that, that will be even better, like posting stories, posting your own ideas, your own content, and this can help you to attract the right, attract more people. And another thing here with content is that you can use it for follow-ups, because, for example, in the past, I've had a lot of situations where a prospect told me, yeah, I am not interested. No, I am not interested. And then I followed up, not interested, not interested. But then I created a new video and I told him, hey, would you be interested on checking this video where I show how I was able to go from this to this? And then he was like, yeah, send the video to me. I sent the video. And then even though he said that he was not interested, after watching this video, he booked a call and he became a client. So the best way to follow up will be with content. And again, in some cases, I will explain everything in detail. You will have these scripts because you have to follow up a lot of times, in some cases just with normal messages, but at the same time, you can also follow up with content. And yeah, this is just about getting feedback. So now when it comes to volume, these are basically the KPIs that you need to hit. And the goal here is to contact as many prospects as you can, to start as many new conversations with new prospects as you can, because in this case, we are going to be getting results mainly with outreach. So right now, if is not investing, for example, a lot of money in paid traffic, and that's not necessary. So it's not like we're going to get a lot of people coming to us. So with just outreach, we can end up getting to 50K, 60K, 100K. I've seen this multiple times. So it's not necessary to use paid traffic or something else like that. It's just a matter of contacting a lot of prospects. Because, for example, if we send 100 messages a day to new prospects, that means that at the end of the month, we will contact 3,000 prospects, 2,000, 3,000 prospects. And it's really easy to say that with this kind of volume, you're going to book 10 appointments, 20 appointments, 30 appointments. And yeah, that's really, that's the main thing. So for example, with Facebook, and in a minute, I will ask you how many messages you're sending. But with Facebook, for example, you can send 50 messages to new prospects a day. So the only thing here is that you have to do this in different intervals. So you can only send 5 to 6 messages to new prospects per hour. And when it comes to friend requests, you can send 70 to 80 requests per day. And this is going to accelerate your growth a lot. So in my experience, 9 is like the perfect number. I don't know why, but after testing this multiple times, if you send 9, you are going to be under the radar from Facebook. But again, this has to be done every hour so that we avoid restrictions. Because if you send more than 5 messages per hour to new prospects, it is very likely that you are going to get restricted. And another thing is that with these kind of restrictions, it is really good to have like a timer, for example, so that you can send 5 messages on Facebook, then 5 messages on Instagram, then 5 messages on LinkedIn, then the 9 requests, and then in another hour, you start again, and you have like an interval of 1 hour. Because if you send 5 messages in 10 minutes, and then 5 messages on Instagram, and then again you send 5 messages on Facebook, then technically speaking, Facebook will consider that you have that you sent 10 messages, and then this is gonna if you send more than 5 messages, it is very likely that you will get restricted. But yeah, with Facebook, these are the limits. With Instagram, 50 messages to new prospects a day again. And with LinkedIn, we have a lower limit, so we can only send 100 new connections a week. But in some cases, some accounts actually have a higher limit depending on their age, depending on the profile. In some cases, you can send more, but just to be safe, 100 messages is a good number. And yeah, the idea here is, for example, is to work 8 to 10 hours from Monday to Saturday. I mean, I'm not entirely sure about the structure that you guys follow, but this was actually what I was doing. And yeah, this is how you can get like the best of the best when it comes to results. And these are like the main KPIs. And the limits are even higher because, like I said, for example, I was only sending messages in Facebook when I was working as an appointment setter, and I was sending 50 messages to new prospects a day, but then on top of that, I was sending 150 follow-ups to prospects that replied to us in the past. So if a prospect replies to at least one of your messages, that means that these limits don't matter anymore. You can send pretty much as many messages as you want. So, but the only thing is that they have to reply at least one time. And the same thing happens with Instagram. And with LinkedIn, it's a little bit different, but ideally, if they respond, you can send more messages. But yeah, follow-ups here are important, but at the same time, it will be better if you focus on new conversations, push new conversations, push new messages, because we need more traffic. So that's it when it comes to volume. And now, this is the important part. When it comes to the messaging structure, I already talked with, so we're gonna propose a discovery call, just a quick 15-minute chat. Yeah, this is what we are gonna use, but also we have the method to propose a sales call. This is gonna be 45 minutes, a strategy session, something like that. This is going to be a little bit harder, but yeah, maybe in the future we are gonna continue using this, but I wanted to explain the method, the framework anyway. So before I show these frameworks, when it comes to the messages, the messaging structure, this is important. So your goal here is to sell the call, right? To sell the strategy session. Your goal here is not to talk about the program. Your goal here is not to try to sell the service from. Your goal is just to make the call really appealing, make the call really attractive. So here, for example, you have to make this call super valuable. This has to be for the prospect really valuable, but at the same time, this has to have a low risk. Because, for example, if they feel like we are going to sell them something, the risk is higher for them because they don't want to waste time. But if we lower that risk and if we increase the value of the call, something that they want, especially something that relates to them, then it is very likely that they will accept. And in a minute, I will show you an example here. Maybe I am going back and forth, but yeah, the idea here is to create something that is valuable and at the same time make the prospects feel like this is like a really low risk, like a really low risk thing. So for example, you could say how you can become more productive so you can take your business to $10,000, to $20,000 by just making a few changes in your routine, in your daily routine. And I promise that in this call, this is just a quick 15-minute chat. I promise that I am not going to try to sell you anything, so that they feel like more comfortable with the call. And sometimes you can also say things like, I promise that I am not going to try to sell you anything. I am not going to try to pitch you. This is more like a brainstorming session. And this is just so that I can share more information about this strategy that you want to use. So that's the idea. And even though in some cases we're going to use scripts, you can react to the messages of the prospects however you want. So the idea here, of course, is to have normal conversations, but at the same time, you have to be careful to not get distracted, because the prospect will start talking about different topics, or in some cases, if you don't ask the right questions, if you ask a random question just to continue the conversation, then the conversation will go nowhere. So maybe, for example, in real life, when you have a conversation with a real person, if the conversation is dying down, if you are kind of like feeling a lot of silences, you will start to ask questions just to ask a question, right? But this is not something that we want to do here in the messages, because if we ask a random question, then the prospect is gonna start talking about a different thing, and then it will require more effort to take the conversation back to our topic. So we have to keep the conversation in a structured way. We have to book the appointment. Our goal here is not to talk about life. Our goal here, I mean, in some cases they will tell you something about their life, and you can acknowledge that. You can make them feel that you are listening, but at the same time, it's not necessary to get distracted. And for example, in some of the Loom videos, I saw that, for example, you were that. Yeah, I don't know exactly who it was, but I saw that a question that was common is that what inspired you to become a coach, something like that. So if you ask something like that, what inspired you to become a coach, that is not helping us to book the appointment, because that is not helping us to qualify the prospect. That is not helping us to find a problem or find his goals. We are just asking a question just to continue the conversation. But the longer the conversation is, the less chances we are going to have to book more appointments, because people will stop replying. So that's why this conversation has to be short, or at least it has to be really efficient. In some cases, this can be longer. There are certain situations where maybe a prospect will become a client after years, after months. I've seen that, and I experienced that multiple times. A prospect will talk with you every day, and then maybe in 3 months they will become a client. But those have to be only the exception, because ideally this doesn't have to happen, because this is your time. And if they are not booking an appointment, they are kind of like they are taking a lot of your time. So you have to be careful with your time. And here, again, you don't have to ask questions that are not necessary. And also you have to avoid dropping links, putting links, unless this is the Calendly link. Maybe, for example, is not here, so I was not able to talk about this specifically. But here, if you put a link to a YouTube video, if you put a link to a Facebook group, if you put a link to something else, the prospect is going to get distracted. And then, in fact, this can lower our chances of booking the appointment, because they will think that we are trying to sell something. Because a normal person doesn't put links in the conversation, right? Or maybe in some cases, but it's not like you're putting like, hey, check this video. Unless this is a follow-up, like I said before, maybe you can send a YouTube video. But if this is not a follow-up, and if you are not promoting something like a Facebook group, like, for example, in some cases, maybe it will tell us, so in this week, we want to promote the Facebook group. So maybe in that case, that can be an exception. But ideally, you don't have to put links. You don't have to redirect people to other places, because if they move to another place, they will forget about the conversation, and then they will forget about who we are, right? So the only link that ideally, the only link that you have to put is the Calendly link, so that they can book an appointment. That's the goal. And remember that here we don't need to have these long conversations with the prospects, because at the end of the day, we'll have the calls with the prospects. He will listen to their situation. He will see what they have to do. He will qualify them, especially with the discovery call method. In 5 minutes of the call, he's going to say, okay, so this prospect doesn't have money, or okay, so this prospect is actually a good fit. We can continue with the sales call. But here, this is why it is not important really to have long conversations with the prospects. That's why this is not necessary. And another thing is that you don't have to overthink your messages. So in order to send 200 messages in 8 to 10 hours a day, you need to send messages every 2 minutes, 2 minutes message. I remember that I used to have like a timer on my cell phone, and I used to put 2 minutes. 2 minutes start, 2 minutes, check the reply and send the message. Even if I was not ready, it is better if you continue sending more messages. In some cases, it's okay if you don't send the perfect message, because it's better if you send more messages to more prospects. So, and it's okay if you sometimes make a mistake, because at the end of the day, we have to have like an abundance mindset. There are thousands of prospects that need our help, and that's exactly what we have to do. It's okay if sometimes you make a mistake. And because these are just messages, most people won't even notice if you make grammar mistakes, if you make mistakes, if you say something wrong. Like I said, I was using the profile from an entrepreneur from the US, and nobody told me that I was speaking in a weird way, because when we are sending messages, a lot of times we make a lot of grammar mistakes, and we are okay with that. So you don't have to overthink these messages. You have to send them fast. So now, this is the most important part when it comes to the method to propose the discovery call, the framework. So here, this is pretty simple. We have to start the conversation in a personalized way. And ideally, we have to talk about something in their profile that is related to us. So it's not only about saying, hey, that picture with your dog is really nice. Maybe they are going to respond, but the conversation is going to go to another place. They're going to start talking about their pet, and that's not what you want. You want to at least move the conversation to our topic, to our niche. And this is going to help us a lot. For example, right now I'm working with clients who are helping engineers, who are helping people, professionals. So in this case, we can talk about their experience, their past experience in their last job, for example, or maybe we can say something about the thing that they studied, their university, or maybe if they have a post about something about their business or about their profession, you can talk about that instead of just saying, hey, that picture in the mountains looks really cool. That's the idea. But yeah, going back to the framework, we have to start the conversation in a personalized way, and we have to move the conversation to our niche. And in a minute, I will show you exactly how this will look like. So don't worry. But yeah, we're gonna start the conversation. Then after that, we just have to ask 2 or 3 questions max to qualify the prospect and to find inefficiencies in their business or in their life. So just 2 or 3 questions. So for example, they experience burnout. They have daily bad routines. They have a poor daily structure. So your questions should be related to these common problems. So your goal is not to ask questions about something different. Your goal should be just to find out if they have a problem. For example, with my own business, right now I'm helping coaches to book more appointments. So one question that helps me a lot to see if the prospect has a problem is that I ask, are you doing all the appointment setting yourself? Because if they say yes, now I know that they have a problem, that probably they are not getting good results, or that they don't have a a lot of time, a lot of free time because they are sending these messages. So you have to find these inefficiencies, these problems, and then you have to share a new insight, a process, or a case study so that you can create curiosity and build authority. And then after that, you are going to propose a call for a personalized walkthrough. Yeah, you're going to propose a call, and then you have to be very diligent with your follow-ups because you have to follow up daily. If you propose a call, you have to follow up daily. If you send your calendar link, you have to follow up daily, in some cases for 9 days, because otherwise they are going to forget that they wanted this, and then they are not going to book the appointment. And in some cases, some people are not going to respond, but that's okay. Still, we have to follow up. So that's the process when it comes to the discovery call. And yeah, like I said, we're not going to use the sales call method for now, but I just wanted to explain the method as well so that you understand, because it is pretty similar. In here, for example, when it comes to the sales call, we have to ask more questions because we are not going to have the discovery call, of course. So we need to know more about the prospect before we send this prospect to. So in this case, you have to ask for more questions about their current situation. Then more questions, for example, here with their current situation, how's your life going? Not really how's your life going. Do you have a business? How's your business going? Then after that, see where they want to go. For example, they will tell you, yeah, I have one client and I am selling a program for 1,000. So he's at 1K. And I would say, okay, so now that you are at 1K, what's next for you? Because of course you are not going to stop there. And then he's going to say, yeah, I want to hit 50K a month. And then I got you. So now we have to ask for more information about their current obstacles or roadblocks. So, and what's holding you back from getting to that point? And then now that we have that information, we can just send like a message to confirm that we have all the information that we need, and then we propose a call. But the interesting part here, let me go back to the example. So he says, I am making 1K per month. I want to hit 50K per month. And then the main issue is that I am not getting enough appointments, right? Or maybe I am not disciplined with my daily routine. So now that we have this information, we can propose the call in a way that is really personalized to the prospect. So we can say, got you, well, would it be helpful if we hop on a call so that we can show you how you can take your business to 50K now that you are at 1K, especially how you can create a better structure for your daily routine so that you can finally hit this $50,000 a month goal. This is just like an example, but the idea here is to use the same information that they gave you to propose a call so that this is personalized. Because if I just say, hey, let's hop on a call without context, they are gonna say no. But if we say something like that, if we use their own information, something that they gave us, something like that, then it is very likely that they are going to accept, because now they feel like we understand their problem, we understand their situation, and we can actually help them to get to that point. And even in some cases here, we can use stories in order to showcase that we know the solution to his problem. So we can say, for example, well, would it be helpful if we hop on a call so that I can show you how one of my students went from 1K to 15K to 50K just by changing a couple of things in his daily routine? Because now he's gonna say, okay, so this other client was at $1,000. He went to 50. I want to go to 50 as well. And he was struggling. He was having some issues with his daily routine. So now he's gonna say, actually, let me see what you can do, right? And again, follow-ups are the key to book even more appointments. And follow-ups, in a minute I will show you how they look like, because, for example, I saw that in the Loom videos that you were putting like the name of the prospect, and that's good, but that is a little bit too direct. So remember that we have to follow up like 9 times, 6 times, 7 times, 9 times, but we can do it in a different way. So actually, let me talk about the follow-ups real quick. So with the follow-ups, just to explain this super quickly, for example, if we send the calendar link after 30 minutes, we can say also hit me with a message once you book, so I can make sure it went through correctly. And then if after 24 hours they haven't booked an appointment, hey name, did you have any trouble finding a time that works for you? Then the next day, alternatively, if you can find anything suitable in your calendar, what would be a time and a day that works for you? And I will do my best to make that possible. Then the next day, and I forgot to say this, but this would be more like a brainstorming session. I promise I won't try to sell you anything. I just want to see how I can provide more value. Sounds good? And then later, maybe we can follow up with a video. And after that, hey name, would love to hear back from you sometime soon. Then, hey name, hey James, for example, are you getting these messages? Then a GIF, for example, and then the last message, did I say something wrong? But you can see that we can send 9 follow-ups and nothing will happen. Nobody really reacts to those. Yeah, I mean, nobody will react negatively. If they react, for the most part, they're just going to open the message and forget about it. But it's very rare to see someone that will get angry. And if they get angry, usually it's because they have, not to sound rude, but they have problems in their life, and that's okay. So they are negative, yeah, just because something is going on in their life, and that's okay. And for example, with call proposed, again, we have all of these follow-ups. And if this is like a normal conversation, ideally we have to follow up with content. This is like the standard follow-up sequence. So I will continue updating, like I said, this script, but when it comes to the message variants, this is how this is going to look like, and this is like the last thing. This is what you are going to apply. But when it comes to the message variants, and actually before we continue with the last part, do you have more questions about this? Do you have maybe something that was not clear, or something that was maybe a little bit confusing? Do you feel like something like that here?
Oh, all set of mine. I'm just taking it all in.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So here, when it comes to the discovery call methods that we're gonna use, like I said, I will update this. This is really basic, but I wanted to keep it simple so that you can start implementing it as well. Because in my experience, usually when I get a client, I start with a basic script, and then once we start getting responses to that, we can start improving it in the sales calls, in the coaching calls that we're gonna have. We can see what's going on in the inbox, and then we can apply that information for this script so that we can create something that actually makes sense. Because otherwise, I am just gonna create a script that is just gonna be like in my imagination. And something interesting is that a lot of people that share this kind of scripts, they have like these ideal conversations in their mind, and then they put like this, like if this was the script, but in reality, the conversation is not gonna go like that. So for example, a lot of scripts say like, so you are gonna ask, how's it going? And then the prospect is going to say, things are going really well. How about you? Can you tell me more about what you do? And then in reality, that is never going to happen. So that's why my main focus is always to help my clients and my team just with daily sales calls, not sales calls, daily coaching calls, or regular feedback, because this is the best way to see what's going on really. But now I talked about the methods to propose the discovery call, but this is how this looks like specifically. So here, for example, you will always have the problems that we have to find, the inefficiencies, the angles that we can find in the prospect, so that we know if they have a problem or not. And yeah, basically, for example, this is what you will say in order to start the conversation. Hey, and again, this is just an example, and after 1 day, after 2 days of checking your responses, the responses that you're getting, we can continue improving this. But this can look something like this. So, hey, how's it going? Name. Cool to see that you are doing X. Cool to see that you did this other thing. Cool to see that you are working for this company. It's really interesting to see. It's impressive to see that you were able to go to this place. It's impressive to see. Always the idea here is to make them feel good about something in their life. So I always like to give this example that, for example, I always like to use this example. So one of my team members, actually, I spent a lot of time creating like a really good outreach tracking sheet. It was like a full outreach tracking sheet with a lot of information and a lot of formulas and a lot of a lot of things. But then nobody told me anything about that, right? But when actually one of my appointment setters, she told me that she can see that I spent a lot of time creating this outreach tracking sheet, right? So in my real life, nobody said that to me before, right? So that makes me feel good, because this is something that not a lot of people tell me. This is like a compliment that is really specific, because I know that I spent a lot of time doing that. And if you compliment someone with that, with something that not a lot of people compliment, that is going to be like a really good way to start a conversation. So ideally, they have to read your message and they have to feel good about themselves. So for example, if you create 100 videos on Facebook, then if someone tells you, I respect your consistency, I respect that you were able to get, I respect your consistency because I know that creating content is hard, he is going to know, or she is going to know, yeah, actually creating these videos took me time. Or for example, if someone was from India and then they came to the US, if you say, it's really impressive to see that you were able to have this kind of journey, that you came from India and that now you're in the US. That's impressive. I can only imagine how hard that must have been. So that's like a different thing, because maybe not a lot of people tell them that, but you can be the person that gives them this kind of compliment. Or let's say that a lot of times, a lot of people create an online business, or they start a business in general, and nobody's telling them congratulations. In fact, a lot of people are telling them that that was a bad idea, that that was a mistake. So if you come here and you tell them that it's impressive that they created their online business, and that and that it's impressive to see that they had the courage to create this business, that's like a different way to start a conversation. So going back to other examples with my clients, for example, that are helping professionals, actually, I had a conversation with them yesterday, and we were talking about a person on LinkedIn, a prospect on LinkedIn, and he was working for the same company for 50 years. So we could see his experience in LinkedIn. And in this case, we could say, it's impressive to see that you have been committed to this company, that you have a lot of experience in this topic, because not a lot of people have this kind of experience. Or on the other hand, we saw that some prospects graduated from college and that right away they got a job at a software company. So in this case, we can say, it's really impressive to see that you were able to get this kind of job. I can only imagine how hard that must have been, right? So that's like the idea. But yeah, how's it going, name? Cool to see that you are doing X, the personalized message. I think we're in the same Facebook group. And here, sorry about the noise, but here you can say something about specifically about the group that is about high performance, about productivity, something that will be related to the main topic, so that at least they have an idea of the topic that we are going to talk about. So I think we're in the same productivity group, the same Facebook group, about daily habits about high performance. Or for example, if they come from Instagram, I think we both follow Brendan Bouchard, right? And then they will say, yeah, I think so, or yeah, maybe, or no, bro, I don't think so, something like that. And then you can transition the conversation with something like this. Cool, cool. So you've been learning about this stuff for some time now? Or if they say no, got you. So maybe it was a different group, or maybe it was a different guy. But have you been learning about this stuff, about these topics for a long time? And you can put like here, you can put here, for example, so you have been learning about these topics, daily routines, habits, high performance for some time now. And then you can continue with the questions to qualify the prospect. And again, here, you don't need to ask too many questions. And the only questions that you have to ask are just questions to find inefficiencies. You don't need to ask, I mean, I said this before, but I want to repeat it again. You don't have to ask questions about their life, for how long they have been a coach, what inspired them to become a coach, or yeah, it's not necessary to ask questions that will distract the prospect from what we are talking about right here. So this is an example. So how's that been going for you so far? So they will say, yeah, I've been learning about habits for almost 10 years. Got you. Or maybe in some cases you're not gonna say bro, but in other cases maybe you will. But yeah, got you, James. And how's that been going so far for you? And they will say, yeah, it's going not so well. I haven't been able to do a lot of things. Or yeah, really well. Actually, I was able to become really productive. And then, for example, you have to find out if they have a business, or if they have I mean, in some cases with their profile on Facebook, you will know if they have a business or not, or you will know what they do. But if you don't have that information, you can say other things like, what niche are you targeting? What do you do? If they don't have information about that. If they have, of course, you can avoid this kind of question. So another example, and do you have like and they will say, yeah, I've been learning about this stuff for some time now, for 2 years. Cool, cool. So do you have like a daily routine or something like that? So you can see that here right away, we're talking about our topic. We don't want to talk about something different, but we are doing this in a casual way at the same time. So do you have like a daily routine or something like that? And what kind of methods do you like to use to be more productive? And are you experiencing any friction? Or is it pretty smooth when you go through your daily schedule? For example, we can even say in some cases, and if you don't mind me asking, how do you feel about your business? Because I know that sometimes having a business can be overwhelming. I know that sometimes you feel like you have to do a lot of things, but at the same time, you don't have enough time. So you can say those kind of things. Again, the main goal is just to find out the inefficiencies right here, the problems, just to find out if they are burned out, if they are not putting consistent action in their business or in their life, if they have a poor daily routine or habits, if they have a poor daily structure. And maybe in some cases they would say that they want like more help right away. Maybe this is not like a common problem, but yeah, for now let's leave it here. But the idea is to find problems. Just that's the only thing. And you just need to ask 2 or 3 questions to see if they have a problem or not. And going back to my example with my business, I want to ask them, because I am helping coaches to book more appointments, I want to ask them if they have an appointment setter, if they are doing the appointment setting themselves, are they booking a lot of appointments, and how is the appointment setting process looking like for them? For example, maybe in some cases, some people tell me, yeah, I have an appointment setter. But then I ask, and how is the performance of that appointment setter going? And they will tell me, yeah, not that good. Or yeah, it's going really well. And then maybe if they say that they have an appointment setter and that everything is going well, there's no reason for me to continue the conversation, because if, for example, in this case, this person doesn't have a problem. But if maybe she tells me, yeah, I am doing this myself, but and I am getting really good results. So technically speaking, she's getting good results. She's booking a lot of appointments and she's doing it herself. But now there is another inefficiency. If she's doing this herself, even though she's getting good results, this means that she doesn't have a lot of time. So now I can focus on that inefficiency. Or with another example, with another client, he's in the dating niche. So in this case, I have to find out if the prospect wants to meet more women, or if he wants a relationship, or maybe he already has a relationship, but he wants a better relationship, or he wants to find the right person, right? So we have to find these problems, and that's the only goal of asking these questions. That's why it's not necessary to ask something different. And then once we have more clarity on what they need, what kind of problems they have, then that's when we can continue. So before you leave this stage, make sure that you found 1 or 2 angles or inefficiencies that you will leverage to get him or her interested on the call. So then later, once you have that information, you have to educate the prospect and create authority and curiosity. So for example, here, if I say, yeah, actually I help entrepreneurs to solve the problem that you have, that is going to be like too salesy. But if I talk about this with the stories, if I talk about this like if I make this like a bait, if I put this like a story, yeah, actually one of my students actually was in the same position as you, and he actually got the results that you want to get, right? So this is like a story. I am not telling you that we can help you with this, but this is what this is what we did before with other clients. So for example, here, so got you, that makes sense. Well, in my experience, daily habits make a huge difference. For example, one of my students went from 6K to 12K just by changing a couple of things in his morning routine. Do you have something like that? So you can see that here, technically I am showing off because I am saying that someone got these results, but at the same time, because this is like a different story, then this doesn't come like, people are not gonna think like we are showing off in the same way. I mean, in some cases, but we need to show a little bit of, we need to show off a little bit. We need to show them that we are an authority. We need to show them that we actually went from 0 to 10K in 3 months, for example. We need to show them that we have helped other people. We need to show them that we are an authority, and we have to show them that because we have this experience, we have done, we have helped other people in their situation. So that's why we have to create authority and curiosity. Because if they don't have this curiosity, then what's the reason to book a call with you, right? So this is what we need to propose a call so that we have more leverage. And like I said, this is important here, understanding their problems, because maybe in some cases they will tell you, yeah, the main problem that I have are my daily habits. Or maybe in some cases they will tell you, yeah, my daily habits are fine, but I need more help when it comes to accountability. I think that I need someone that can help me to be more productive. I need to be someone that can help me to be accountable. I think that's the word. Yeah, someone that can help me, right? And then we can switch, we can twist the words, we can twist the sentences so that this fits the prospect. And then after this, usually what will happen is that they will say like, what do you mean? Can you tell me more? Or actually they will say, what do you mean? Or so what do you have in mind? Or so how does that work? They will ask something really simple. I mean, at the end of the day, that's like something real. They will give you like a dry message. They will respond like that, but at least they are showing interest. So in this case, for example, here, if they ask for more information about the last message, you can say this. Well, would it make sense if we just have a quick 15-minute chat, just so I can get a little bit more context? I don't want to give you inaccurate advice, but I promise that I won't try to sell you anything. So you can see the difference, right? For example, with my business, again, because I'm putting a lot of examples here. With my business, I say that I guarantee appointments, for example. And then they will tell me, so how does that look like? And then if I say, well, would it make sense if we just have a quick 15-minute chat, just so I can get a little bit more context? Then they will say, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, let's book a call. And that's it. You don't need to have like all this long conversation talking about their life. And yeah, that's why this discovery call process is really powerful. This discovery call process, because in order to propose the sales call, you have to ask more questions. But even if this is the case with the sales call, it is kind of like the same structure. It's current situation, goals, roadblocks, and then you propose the call. But this is what we're going to use, the discovery call method. And yeah, for example, maybe in other times, in a different Maybe a different prospect will tell you something different. And in this case, maybe you can say, are you free for a 15-minute chat sometime this week? I can walk you through our process and how we're currently implementing it to generate results for, and then maybe they are a dentist, maybe they are an engineer. So I can walk you through our process and how we're currently implementing to help software developers to generate an extra 10K per month. So that's the idea. But you can see that we have to talk about numbers. We have to talk about numbers, and we can talk about money, but also because of what does, we can talk about time. So maybe it's not like they want more money, but maybe they want 15 to 20 hours extra a week. So we have to put numbers so that they can get a clear idea. For example, I saw the script, showed me the script that you were using, and in some messages he said, would it be okay if I share with you this video so that you can take, and this can help you to take your business to the next level. This can help you to take your life and business to the next level, something like that. So even though that sounds like less aggressive, the prospect is not gonna imagine like, what does the next level mean? So he's not gonna think like, next level, what does that mean? That is too generic. But if we tell them how you can make 10K per month, how you can get an extra 10 hours a week, how you can get a promotion, how you can get a raise, that's when things start to work for the prospect. We have to paint a picture in their mind of the results that they can get. So that's the idea of proposing the call. Another example here is that if you feel like the prospect is a little bit cold, you can always use this kind of like phrases. And I don't want to overstep any boundaries here, or actually, would it make sense? Something like that. You can always use that. And here you can say, for example, and I don't want to overstep any boundaries here, but would it be helpful if we hop on a quick 15-minute call or chat sometime this week? I can walk you through our process. And this is pretty similar, but you can always add these kind of phrases. And I don't want to overstep any boundaries here. If you don't mind me asking, hopefully I am not overstepping any boundaries. Yeah, there are a lot of ways how you can do this. And yeah, that's the idea. And yeah, actually, yeah. And after that, if they say yes, then you don't want to seem too needy. So the last message, if they say yes, is great. Is it cool if I send you a booking link? Is it cool if I send you the link to my calendar? Just so that they can say yes before we put the link. Because if we just put the link right there, they're gonna feel like we are too pushy. So we just have to ask this last question: is it cool if I send you a booking link? And then yeah, after that, you can continue with the follow-up sequences. So you can continue with these follow-ups, and this is gonna help you to book more calls. But yeah, that's pretty much the idea. And yeah, this is pretty much it, because in the main script that I use for my business, this is like 22 pages, and I have like responses of what to say when they give you an objection, what to say when they responded to one of your posts, what to say when they propose the call right away, what to say if they are coming from a Facebook group request, all of these things. But I want to talk about those in the coaching calls, because, for example, a lot of people will tell you, yeah, I don't have enough time. That's an objection. So you can overcome that. So sometimes they will tell you, yeah, I don't, yeah, really, I don't think that I have money for that. That's an objection. A lot of people will tell you that they don't have money, and then they will pay for your program, right? So that's something that I want to cover later. But when it comes to the basics of having this structure to propose the call, this is how this looks like. Yeah, so now do you have more questions about the script, something that maybe you feel like is not clear, something that is too different from what you were doing before?
I'm all set, man. I'm just taking in all the info.
Got it.
It's really good. Yep.
How about you, Dan?
Yes, it's a lot more simpler. I like it. I you know, because my personality is just continuing on and trying to say the right things. But this time it'll be a little easier, because on a discovery call, one-on-one, is a little bit more personal, and it's nice, as long as you know what you're saying. And like you said, the conversation can turn pretty quickly. recently with like cost.
Yeah. And actually, I have those kind of answers to in my script because a lot of people will ask you the same things.
Uh-huh.
Can you tell me the cost? Can you tell me the price? Can you tell me more about what you do? I don't have time. I don't have money. What is it you do? What is it you want?
Or they want to do the discovery call. They
Right
say
o-
it first.
Sorry?
They say it first. I've been getting
Oh, yeah?
wanting to talk to me first, like suggesting.
Oh,
the call.
yeah. In some cases, that's good. In other cases,
Oh, okay.
in other cases, be careful because a lot of people will say like, yeah, let's book a call. Some people, they are trying to
Yeah.
sell us something, and they will
Mhm.
say, yeah, let's book a call, and they will be too optimistic, and then you hop on a call, and then they are just trying to sell us something. But
Yeah.
it's good if you get this kind of messages. It's also good as well. And in
Okay.
those,
Yeah, I've had that happen to me a few times as well.
Really? Oh, yeah.
yeah. For example, almost always when someone starts a conversation with us, this means that they are selling something, and
Okay.
you will have long conversations with them, and they will respond to all of your questions, but they are just wasting time. And you can see you can see the messages that they send, and right away you will see, okay, so a normal person wouldn't say this. He's too friendly. So I mean, in some cases, some people will be friendly, but it is different. The messages are different. Their messages are, I don't know how to explain it, but the messages are different.
From my
And
experience, yeah, it's pretty easy to spot if they're being
yeah,
overly friendly or if they
yeah,
reach out to you first.
yeah.
Um,
And the only thing is that go ahead, Harrison.
no, I wasn't saying anything. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, but the other thing is that at the same time, there is a fine line between someone that is trying to sell us something and someone that is actually interested. Because in some cases, this will happen. Some people will tell you, "Can you tell me more about what you do?" Or they will just send you like a message that you will think, "Okay, so he's like, this is not normal. He wants to know he wants to join the program or he wants to know the price." But in some cases, that happened to me a lot of times, they actually can pay for the program right away. So they will send you a message, tell me more about what you do. And then in some cases, those can become a client. For example, there were some cases where I had a conversation just by exchanging just one or two messages, and they became a client. So yeah, in some cases, this can happen, but almost always, if they send you a message first, they are not that qualified. But if this is the case, I don't know, guys, if you can share with me your screen so that I can see, for example, what I would have said differently. Because basically, this is the script, the idea of the script that you have to use. And then we can add more information on top of that. But I just want to see like real examples to see what we could say differently. So I will stop sharing my screen. And actually, before I stop sharing my screen, I created this Discord group. But here, for example, this group is going to be very important because you have to keep track of how many messages you're sending every day.
Wow.
So, for example, without this kind of tracking, it is very difficult to see where you have to improve. So, for example, if you see that you are sending 50 messages, that you only send 10 messages a day, 10 messages to new prospects, and if you see that you send 100 follow-ups, but then you didn't book a call, then this means that you have to do something differently. Or maybe you are hitting your KPIs, you're sending 100 messages, but then you are not proposing the call. This means that you have to propose a call more, even if that sounds a little bit obvious. And then if you're proposing a lot of calls, but then nobody's booking the calls, this means that you have to change the way how you propose the call. And then if you're booking a lot of appointments, but if they are not qualified, that means that you have to improve something else. So that's the idea of having this kind of tracking sheets, these end of the day reports. But no, maybe I was not able to cover all the information that you wanted me to cover in this video, so I will leave a link right here where I talk about how you can scale your coaching consulting business, and I will talk about how we actually went from $0 to $5,000 in 10 days just with one appointment setter. If you have more questions or if you have more suggestions, make sure to send me a message on Instagram at jmartinez.x, or you can leave a comment below. So That's it for this video. And if you have more suggestions when it comes to content that will be helpful for you, make sure to leave a comment. Subscribe to this channel if you like this video, hit the like button, and that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. Bye.